Hi, my name is Kelly Ong Shuhui. My number battery is BB3310134. Now I'm going to present the first issue, which whether Minho is liable to return Yunbin the 10,000 ringgit under the Bill of Exchange Act 1949. First thing first, according to the scenario, Wenbin get a non-negotiable jet from Yunbin, which the jet supposedly belongs to Sedat Barsandian Berhad. Wenbin then altered the check and gave it to Minho because Minho sold a 10,000 ringgit brand new television to him. Therefore, who has the better title for the jet is a crucial point in this issue. Based on the Bill of Exchange Act 1949, Section 72, Bracket 2, a unit crossing has the effect of requiring the paying banker to pay the check amount only to the collecting banker indicated by the crossing. This represents that Opera Bank can only pay to Sedat Barsandian Berhad's collecting bank, and Wenbin shall not have the right and title to the said check. In addition, Wenbin stole the check and then furtherly altered the payee's name as a thief. Wenbin had no title to the said check. According to Section 81, Minho cannot require a better title than Wenbin have when he took the non-negotiable check from Wenbin. Since Wenbin had no title, Minho also had no title to the check, even if he took it in good faith and for value. Lastly, according to Section 64, Bracket 1, when Wenbin alternate the name of the payee without the answer of Yunbin, Opera Bank, and Sedat Barsandian Berhad, the check is said to be avoided. Wenbin shall not receive any money from the check. Since Wenbin did not have the title to the said check, he cannot transfer the title and the right to the said check to Minho. Therefore, when Minho received the avoidance check, Minho did not have a better title to it. In conclusion, based on the case of Wilson and Mason v. Pickering 1946, when a check loses its negotiability, it means that the transferee cannot obtain a better title than the transferors. Therefore, Minho could not obtain a better title than Wenbin. However, as a thief and forger, Wenbin had no valid title to the said check, whereas Yunbin, the ultimate victim, has the right to claim the 10,000 ringgit from Minho, who received the fund under a defective title. Thus, Minho is liable to return the 10,000 ringgit to Yunbin.
Hi, my name is Mirabetta Inting. My matric number is BB22110624. Today, I am going to talk about the issue 2, is whether the Rupa Bank is liable for paying Yunbin the first check worth RM 10,000 that was causally not negotiable and was fraudulently altered by Wenbin, an authorized person. For the rules and application, according to the Section 76, Bracket 2, Bills of Exchange Act 1949, when a banker's name is written across the face of a check with or without the phrase "not negotiable," the check is specifically crossed out for that lender. In this scenario, the first check worth RM 10,000 is payable to Sedat Barsandian Berhad, and crossed with the words "not negotiable" means the check is specifically crossed to Sedat Barsandian Berhad's collecting bank. Rupa Bank paying bankers can only pay the check to Sedat Barsandian Berhad's collecting bank, which is named in the crossing. For the relevant case, Eng Hua and Anwar v. Arab Malaysian Bank Berhad, Bracket 2003, the bank had the power not to pay on a check which contained an alteration. In this scenario, since Wenbin has altered the payee's name from the Sedat Barsandian Berhad to his name by using a special chemical ink, therefore, Rupa Bank is not liable for paying the check worth RM 10,000 which Wenbin fraudulently altered. According to the Section 64, Bracket 1, Use of Exchange Act 1949, a check that has been materially altered without authority becomes void except as against a party who made authorized or assented to the authorization, or unless the holder is a holder in due course and the authorization is not apparent. In this scenario, the check was materially altered by Wong Bin without Yun Bin's authorities. However, the alteration was not apparent as the check appeared legitimate and the fraud was undetectable. Therefore, under Section 64(1) of the Bills of HS Act 1949, Rupa banks will not be liable for paying Yun Bin the RM 10,000 check that was fraudulently altered and crossed with not negotiable. For the conclusion, Rupa Bank is not liable for paying Yun Bin the first check worth RM 10,000 that was crossed with not negotiable and which was fraudulently altered by Wong Bin by using a special chemical ink to change the payee's name from Sedat Basenjam Berhad to his name. Since the alteration is not apparent, Rupa Bank has no way to detect the fraud and acted in good faith and was protected under Section 64(1) Bills of HS Act 1949.
Hi, my name is Lao Suijun with my matrix number of BB22110287. Now I will explain the third and the fourth issue which involve the second check under the same scenario. In this scenario, the check was originally blank but closed with account payee. Wong Bin filled in his name as payee, forged Hyun Bin's signature for 15,000 ringgit and cashed it at Roba Bank. Despite noticing the suspicious signature, Mr. Lazi, a bank officer, proceed with the payment. So the third issue here is whether Roba Bank is liable for honoring a check for 15,000 ringgit with a forged signature of Hyun Bin signed by Wong Bin. And the fourth issue here is whether Hyun Bin can sue Roba Bank for negligence and Wong Bin for forging his signature under Bills of Exchange Act 1949. Here are the relevant rules and cases that can be applied in this issue. Under Section 24 of Bills of Exchange Act 1949, a check signed by Wong Bin without Hyun Bin's authority is considered fraud and therefore wholly invalid and unenforceable. Section 73A defines check as a bill of exchange payable on demand, and it must be treated with a high standard of care by the banker when processing it. Section 2 shows that Wong Bin, having obtained the check through forgery, is not a valid holder and had no legal right to the funds. Other than that, Section 81A states that a check marked with account payee is non-transferable and must be credited only into the named payee's account. But Roba Bank violated this instruction by wrongly paying Wong Bin in cash. In addition, Roba Bank paid Wong Bin in cash instead of through the named banker, breaching the provision of specially crossed check under Section 76, Subsection 2. The first relevant case which related to this scenario is Akokali Mines Ltd v. Economic Bank. This case highlights that an account payee check must be credited strictly to the named payee. The second case is United Asian Bank v. Tai Sun Hen Construction Sendirian Berhad, where the bank held liable for honoring checks with false signatures due to the failure to verify properly. Then the third relevant case is Syarikat Islamiyah v. Bank Bumiputra Malaysia Berhad. In this case, bank found negligence for failing to detect false signatures. Then the last case is Westminster Bank Ltd v. Hilton, where bank not entitled to debit customers' account based on a forged signature. So the conclusion for issue 3 is that Roba Bank is liable for honoring a check forged by Wong Bin, violating Section 24, 73A, 81A, and 76, Subsection 2 of the Bills of Exchange Act 1949. Then the conclusion for issue 4 is Hyun Bin has the right to sue both Wong Bin for forgery and Roba Bank for negligence and wrongful payment of a non-transferable, specially crossed check.
Hello, my name is Jong Tai Wei with number metric BB22110102. The following issue is occur in between Robert, Roberto, and Rupa Bank, which is whether Rupa Bank is liable for collecting and depositing Roberto a check that was stolen and altered by Robert without making a proper inquiry into Robert's identity. The overview of the case is Robert distorted a check from his employer Roberto and making alteration of pay's name on the check. He did erase the O from the name Roberto and change into Robert. After that, he bring the check to Rupa Bank for the purpose to open an current account. The Rupa Bank officer Miss Jana did not notice of the alteration and depositing the value of check into Robert's account. On the next day, Roberto came to Rupa Bank to query about the check, and now he wants to sue Rupa Bank for depositing the stolen check into Robert's account. For the rules application, the first one will be Section 64(1) of the Bills of Exchange Act 1949, Alteration of Bill. It discusses about the bill is avoided if there are materially change on it without the consent of all parties, like rightful payee and drawer. In the case, Robert distorted a check from his employer Roberto and making alteration of payee's name on the check. This making the bill is avoided as the alteration was without the consent of the rightful drawer and payee. Next, the second is Section 64(2) of Bills of Exchange Act 1949, Material of Alteration. As mentioned before, there was alteration being made, and now this section will be discussed more deeply about what the alteration being made will make the check or the bill is avoided. And one of the examples is changing the payee's name. In the case, Robert distorted the check and altered the payee's name by erasing the O and changing the name from Roberto to Robert, which make it fall under this section. So, the check is avoided. In addition, for the relevant case, one of it was Marfani and Company Limited versus Midland Bank Limited. In Marfani case, the bank did make proper check before approve the check. However, this case was in contrast with the Roberto case, which the Rupa Bank official Miss Jana did not making proper inquiry into Robert's identity and direct depositing the value of check into Robert's account. The last case will be Ladbroke and Company versus Todd. In the case, a clerk distorted checks payable and deposited them all into his account by forging endorsement, and the bank did collect the check without making verification on the endorsement. This case was strongly similar with the Roberto case, which his employee Robert distorted the check and making alteration on it. After that, he bring the altered check into the bank, and the bank official did not notice the alteration and direct deposit the value of the check into Robert's account. As conclusion, Rupa Bank is liable for depositing the stolen check by Robert into Robert's accounts without notice the alteration on it. Besides, Roberto as a rightful payee can sue Rupa Bank and claim for compensation. The last issue will be whether Robert can be held liable for stealing and altering Roberto's check to deposit it into his own account. The rules and application for this issue will be same as the issue number 5, which are Section 64(1) and 2 of Bills of Exchange Act 1949, Marfani and Company Limited versus Midland Bank Limited, and Ladbroke and Company versus Todd. In conclusion, Robert was liable for stealing and altering Roberto's check and deposit it into his own account. As the result, Robert need to return back 20,000 ringgit to Roberto's that he obtained it illegally through theft and check alteration. That's all. Thank you.